Hey, welcome to BreitWerks. Here's something you don't see every day. An 83SC Cabby. Yes, that is a real Cabriolet. The top was not chopped. It's came from Porsche like this. I believe 83 was the only year, but there are enough aficionados out there that will correct me if I'm wrong. Less than 90,000 miles on this little lady. So we're gonna do an annual service. So we'll change the cabin filter. We'll check the power steering fluid, and then we might change the coolant. Yeah, my sense of humor this morning is a little off, but in all reality, we'll do an annual service. We're going to check the brake fluid, see if it needs a fluid flush, and then we'll go from there. But the owner takes great care of this car, and when he brought it in and we popped the hatch to look at the motor, he was despondent that there was a black mark there. So I think we're going to clean that up just to surprise him. But the problem is the black mark's going to come back because that little rubber standoff absolutely 100% will leave that that black mark. But we're going to get this lady all serviced up, and let's see. This car has one of the nicest front trunks. Actually, there's two 911SCs in white, Grand Prix white, that we work on, and they both have really nice front trunks. But see, I did that mess yesterday when I was messing around with the battery. But wow, just looks good. All right, we're gonna get on with checking the brake fluid. So we've had 4 cars in here recently that the brake fluid was perfectly fine, and they were, you know, quote, due. But y'all have seen me use this tool before. Look at that, less than 1%. So that's like a 50-50. Do we do it? Do we not do it? We might just do it, but we'll see. Anyway, pretty happy with that. You gotta love that license plate. It's just too cool. So let's see, while the oil is draining, do our inspection. And under here, everything looks good. There's a tiny little drop, but nothing. If my client calls me and says he won the $400 million Powerball last night, we'll pull it apart to fix that drop. But if not, there's a lot of guys that have 911s that would die for their engine to be this dry. Axle boots are still good. Checking the torques. We did a clutch on this about 3 or 4 years ago, so it looks like the axle bolts have stayed in place, and all of our boots are good. I would like a shot at cleaning this. We do an undercarriage cleaning that comes out pretty good, but all of the boots are in good shape. One day we will get rid of these and upgrade them to a turbo tie rod. Let's see, just a little dirty. Lower ball joints in grid shape. So we got our lower ball joints checked. Nothing blocking the condenser. Calipers look good. We haven't had the wheels off in a while, so I think I am going to bleed the brakes on this. Just do a quick flush. There's a little water in there. This car doesn't get driven that much, so maybe paying a little bit of attention to it. There's a trombone cooler. Looks good, no drips from it. Let's check our oil lines. Wow, look at how round those oil lines are. I'm impressed. Not collapsed at all. Let's see, anything else to take a gander at? I don't think so. Everything looks really good under here. All right, we're gonna keep on moving. All right, after a little bit deeper inspection, one of the things that I discovered is that these rear brake lines are from December of 1982. So we are gonna do a fluid flush. We're gonna change those rear rubber lines out. And the front ones are, let's see, I think you can see it, 2016. So the front ones are fine for now. Usually go about 10 years. But yeah, we will do the fluid flush. We'll get this guy changed. We're gonna get him start soaking because that's been attached for 30 years. What, 92, 2002, 2012. Wow, 40 years. All right, we're gonna get on it. So here's one thing I want to show you guys on changing rear brake hoses. This one came out, no real issues. You can see she's still dripping, even though we have the brake pedal depressed. However, sometimes what will happen is that this nut will fuse itself to the brake hose or brake line. So this nut actually needs to spin freely. I'll show you what I'm talking about. See how this guy spins freely on that copper line? Well, after 40 something years, this nut will fuse itself to the copper line with all the dirt and crap that goes in the back of it, gets in there. So I've been working this one for a while now with brake clean to get the junk out, and then I don't know, I think I'm using like a CRC 656 or something. But Gibbs oil, if you don't have anything else, you probably could use WD-40. But you keep working this guy kind of back and forth. You hear the pop when I moved it there? That's because it's trying to stick to the copper line, right? So this stays. This all gets thrown away. But we've got it loose enough now that we don't actually have to hold that with a 17. But as we move this guy, there's a lot of friction there. I'm pushing pretty hard on that guy. But we're gonna just keep working him out back and forth, because if you don't do this, you will learn the hard way, right? School of hard knocks. But what you'll end up doing is you'll end up twisting this line. And now you're into it for a hard line. Fortunately, I'm not even sure if Porsche makes these anymore. I know we had some problems, but PMB to the rescue. They do have the hard lines. They make them specifically for the different cars. So as I'm doing this, you can kind of see the junk that's oozing out of the back of the nut where the line is. But we get this guy, slowly work him off. You know, the first couple of minutes, it didn't want to turn. Now, if you get into a real bind and you can't get that nut to turn at all, and I don't know, maybe you're at the track, what you can do is you can take the line off the other side and just spin this guy and kind of leave the nut alone. But I mean, that's not the way you really want to do it. So, but it does happen in an emergency. And sometimes, hey, you know, if you can't get parts or something like that, that's the faster, easier way. But what this is doing is basically making it easier for the next guy 10 years from now who has to come in here and change these lines. Because a lot of times I'll just order the hard lines because I know, hey, that's going to be a problem. All right, I think we are now out of, yeah, we're out of the fitting. Perfect. So you see how I can't spin this guy with my fingers. I have to actually use the tool. So what we'll do is we'll actually force this guy forward again, clean up that copper line, because I want it to be able to spin like that. All right, that's the goal. All right, we're gonna keep moving, and anything else cool happens, we'll let you know. All right, so we have successfully installed our rear brake lines. And one of the things, you know, these are Cortico, which is considered OEM. One of the things you gotta be careful of is on this side, you have the standard, and it says 2010, but that's when the standard was written. You actually have to go over to this side, and it's probably not gonna let us see it, but over here you can see they were made in 2020, September 2020. So not sure why brand new parts, or I guess they sat on a shelf somewhere, but yeah, these are good for, like I said, 10 years on the rubber lines. And for those of you that are like, well, why didn't you run the stainless lines? Because you don't need you don't need them, especially on something like this. These are not going to expand. under normal braking, right? We got stock calipers, stock everything. So these actually are, will last a little bit longer. The stainless ones, if you look at them, they do want you to change them every number of years because you can't see anything inside of them. And I'm saying stainless, the braided. But now we're gonna get on with bleeding these guys. So we'll see if we can clean up those calipers a little bit too, because the owner cleaned up the front ones. They look, you know, not too bad for 40 something years old. So we're gonna get on. Since these are some of the most awesome owners, we're gonna try my secret weapon here. It's just a little cleaner wax. Let's see if it, oh, look at that. It's starting to take it right off. So a little bit of cleaner wax and we'll get there. So we're gonna finish that off. And yeah, it'll be a nice touch. So here's one thing we always get questions on, at least from new clients. Clients that have been around a while, they get it, they're all about it. So in the annual services, we change the wiper blades. Now, if you look at this car has probably seen rain, what, maybe twice in its life. But if it does rain, you need these damn things to work. So when these are just sitting parked, right? We're in Florida, so the car's not really out in the sun, but what happens is the rubber will take a set and it'll kind of sit off to the side, right? So it's just laying down like that. So when you change them out with new ones, and these aren't super expensive, right? You go to the Porsche dealer, they would probably charge you $100 each, but these are Bosch Micro Edge 13-inch wipers. So they're fantastic. They're easy to put on, they fit perfectly, and they look period correct. So that's why we change these things. You can kind of see how the rubber is kind of sitting pinched over there on the side. It's not supposed to do that, right? So after about a year, this one, I think the last time we changed them might have been 2 years ago. But I always ask people when they say, why'd you change the wipers? I said, well, oh, are they streaking your windshield? No, that's because we always put fresh wipers on so that you're safe if you get caught driving in the rain. But anyway, something to think about. If you haven't changed your wipers in a while, you really ought to do that from a safety perspective. So we're gonna get on with that, and we're just about done, so we'll get her fired up for the end of the video. All right, it is a nice cool morning. I wouldn't say it's 60s, but definitely lower 70s. So finish the video off firing this little lady up and see. Oh, look how good she starts. Got good oil pressure. Yep. Hey, there's a trash underneath. That's what you get from fall water. Alright, hey, check that out. Look at how pretty that looks. Thanks for watching. Check us out at BreitWerks.com and have a fantastic day.